I'm Ann Bancroft, and I identify as certainly a polar explorer, but also an educator. I'm a former teacher. One of the many questions that I've gotten over the years is, how did you get into this? And I'll quip, and I'll say, well, I grew up in Minnesota. And no matter where I travel in the U.S., they understand, it sort of settles the question then. My first expedition was, winter expedition, was at the age, I think I was about 10. And I got into my noggin that I was going to sleep out. And, I thought I knew what I was doing based on books and TV programs or whatever, movies, and, Jack London. And off I went out in the orchard and made myself a little shelter, and it was a horrible night. And for some reason I was crazy enough to keep on trying. It was sort of endless fun from the moment you got out of your school uniform into your snow pants. Well, before we talked, you heard the term global warming too much. I would tell people, oh, we used to have so much snow. And they all, they used to come back at me and say, well, you were shorter then, because you were a kid. And we had so much snow. I mean, it really was true. And we're seeing that every year. I was just up in the Arctic last spring, back up in 2005. Our whole approach and the way in which we live and work on the ice has totally changed. 2 decades ago, we went almost without thought. We knew there'd be open water at times on the Arctic Ocean because that's a natural occurrence with the currents and the wind pulling the ice apart. So you could see open water at 50 below, 75 below. But now what we're seeing is not only an overall thinness to the ice cap, but much more frequent fractures in the ice. The place is sort of just really destabilized. And our sleds now look more like canoes. We have suits because our strategy is to swim. It's dramatic. It can be a hopeful crisis if we engage, if we don't feel powerless. It's taking that anecdotal experience and pushing it to action. It's not enough just to know that I've seen that. I want to do more with that experience. The only way I know how to do that in a certain sense is to sometimes go up there and call from the mountaintops, as it were, and particularly to the group that I talk so much to, and that's kids around the globe. And they're partly one of the reasons I feel so hopeful, because that's a hopeful population. They see possibility. They aren't afraid to engage. They're a lot less pessimistic. I'll bring it back right to the base level and say, go outside. When it really gets nippy, put on a bunch of clothes, stuff down a Snickers bar and go outside and play. And take a walk a dog, walk a kid, and you'll come around. Winter's no fun when you're running from parking lot to building and when you're sitting in traffic. That's when it's an annoyance. That's when we start talking about winter in sort of pejorative ways. We forget to get out in it. If you dress right, eat right, you can go out and you're really comfy. And it's fun again. When we engage with our environment around us, I think we become much better advocates to do all these other things that everyone's telling us to do.